Hello. Hope you're doing well today. I've had a little trouble with OBS, so hopefully we're up and running. But let me know if you can hear me okay, and I'll switch over to video and get going today. I have two purposes today. One is to start redesigning / coding my site. I woke up randomly in the middle of the night, couldn't go back to bed, so I already have done a little bit. But figured I would do a little bit more of that. But really the main reason is to try to raise some funds for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And let me just tell you, if you haven't heard of this, you're going to really enjoy it. And it's something I've done now for 3 years running. And I've raised more than $2,000 so far this month. So all this month, September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, I'm trying to raise funds for St. Jude. And here's the cool thing. I've got a bunch of really great sponsors. And if you give as little as $5, at this point, you're basically guaranteed to win something. And even if I have a lot more people than I've given in the past, I have so many rewards that your chance is like 50% at this point. So I hope that will incentivize you if the cause itself doesn't. All right, let me switch over. Hopefully you can see me okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. I would love to hear where you're at. You're welcome to share a project idea, Krishna. That's great. But here's the landing page here. This is at codinginpublic.dev. You can see here that what we're trying to do is raise funds for St. Jude. And St. Jude is based in Memphis, Tennessee, but really they've got two kind of emphases. One is the patients who are there locally, and that's people that they will bring in sometimes from all over the globe. Any child who comes with cancer, or anybody that they treat without any cost to the family at all. That includes housing and food and travel and all the medical care. Just not a dime goes, the family doesn't have to pay a dime. And that's really important, especially in a country like the US that doesn't have health care for everyone. And I know some of you say, well, how is this beneficial to me? I don't live in the US. Well, the point of them being a research hospital is that they do a lot of studies on cancer. And believe it or not, a lot of research hospitals don't openly share their research because it's proprietary, and that's some of the way that they stay funded. Well, St. Jude doesn't do that. They take donations from people like you and me and other organizations, bigger organizations, and they research children's cancer and other life-threatening diseases, and they share that openly. They've actually just started a whole campaign called St. Jude Global, which we'll talk about as we go through the live stream today, where they've put a lot of this in a database and made it publicly available to researchers all over the globe. So even if you're not directly a patient of St. Jude, if you have childhood cancer anywhere in the world, you are most definitely impacted by the work of St. Jude. So the reason I'm donating to this in particular is there's a podcast network called Relay that I've listened to for, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years now. And the host, he had a kid with childhood cancer like 16 years ago. They happened to live in Memphis, Tennessee, and so he knew about St. Jude. And so about 5 years ago, I think, they started doing a fundraiser for St. Jude. So I've always given every year. And a few years ago, they said, hey, you should start your own fundraiser if you can. So once I had a channel, I didn't have very many people at the time 3 years ago, but I just said, hey, I might as well see if I can raise some funds as well. So that's the main reason, is I've kind of given to it privately for several years and really caught on to the cause itself, and mostly through kind of my connection to the guys at the network who promoted it. So that's the main reason. And like I said, I do have some amazing things to give away. I've got almost $5,000 worth of prizes. And at this point, I think it's like 37, 38 total prizes. I've had 3 people send in actual receipts, which means right now, let's say I have like 80 people send in receipts, which would be like 3 times the amount I normally have had, you'd still have almost a 50% chance of winning something. So if you have any interest at all in one of these things, just give $5. That's really all it takes. I'd love for you to give more than that, but you don't have to. You can see I've got like CMS stuff like CloudCannon. I've got a bunch of console tools for your development environment, so Console Ninja. I also have Quokka.js and Wallaby.js. This is like a test helper that helps you see your test directly in the code. Quokka.js allows you to see JavaScript and TypeScript directly in your code editor without having to like console log or anything like that. It just shows you it directly. So a bunch of tools like that. I've got Dracula Pro, which includes color schemes. It includes fonts. And it's all, it's for basically any dev environment you want, whether that's your terminal or VS Code or whatever. So if you like their theming, I've got licenses for that. I've got GitTower has donated 5 licenses. This is a GUI for Git. So if you hate Git as much as I do, maybe I'm just not a real dev, but you'll see that GitTower makes it a lot easier, and I hope to do some more stuff on my channel about them eventually. I've got my Learn Astro course, which you can get as well. I've got 4 of those available, and then Warp, which is a terminal, a kind of new Rust-based terminal. They've given me 4 one-year pro plan licenses, which basically gives you a bunch of extra AI credits, which, by the way, if you've not used agent mode in Warp, it really does revolutionize the way I use my terminal, because it just makes interacting with CLIs or just doing basic like scripting so much easier. It's not just like a question and answer prompt thing in your terminal. It's not like ChatGPT in your terminal. It can actually run commands for you. It always asks first, but so it's not just answering stuff. It actually makes it to where you can just ask a question or tell it to do something, and then it says, I'll run this, and then you hit enter and it does it. So it's actually executing commands for you. You can actually learn CLIs too. It's really cool. So anyhow, you get more power with that. So I've got a bunch of stuff. If you give literally $5, at this point, you're almost guaranteed. Well, you are guaranteed right now. And if I don't have at least like 38 givers who send me their receipts and have given at least $5 by September 26th, which is not that far away, just a couple of weeks away, then you will definitely win something. So even if you say, hey, you know what? I haven't heard of this cause before. I can spare $5 this morning. Then I hope you feel pressure. So let's see if we have anybody. Nobody yet. All right, now's the time. Hey, comrade, welcome. Yeah. All right, so I'd encourage you to give towards this. What we're going to be doing today is basically jumping back and forth between talking about St. Jude and then working on my site that I'd like to redesign at some point. So why not this month? All right, so I've done a little bit since the last stream where we did some of this stuff. I'm not sure if I'm primarily going to code today or primarily going to design. Obviously, I have a lot left to design as well. I don't know. I might just kind of code stuff. We'll see. But yeah, let me know if you have any interest in anything in particular. But I think right now what I'm going to do is just work on these like buttons up here. So I do have the code or like the repo open over this way. And I think I've got it up and running. Let's see. Localhost 4321. Maybe? No, I don't. Okay. So let's come over here, npm run dev. We'll get that up and running. And right now I've basically just added like a couple niceties. So over in this layout this morning, let's see what I did. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, so I have some snow that shows. That's kind of fun. So I have it to where it only shows in January, February. So if I come over here to this, if it wants to open for me, come on. Let's change the month here. Let's say if it's in like the month of September. You can see it like throws snow. So I think it's cool. And if you have whatever it's called, I don't remember. I thought I had it in here, but anyhow, basically if you don't want motion, so if you have prefers reduce motion, that's the one, then it won't show it for you. So anyhow, if you hate that kind of stuff, turn that on. So that's what that does. I've got confetti to where if you like hover over any links that happen to have confetti, then like a data confetti attribute, then it throws confetti. So for instance, if I come back to my index, which I've got a bunch of stuff in here, so let's find this one right here, and I comment out this, you'll see this is the fundraiser. Nobody's given yet after that passionate appeal. Come on. You can see that this right here throws up some confetti. So anyhow, so that's what we got going on. What I'd like to do next, I think, is work on this nav section. So I'm gonna come back over here and we're gonna set show nav to true, show footer to, what does this do? Oh, that's my old footer. Interesting. Well, let's not do that. Let's show the fundraiser. Footer in the fundraiser, pre-footer. Let's come in here to the footer. I think maybe I just need to come inside here. Fundraiser, footer. Fundraiser. Oh. There we go. Okay, so it shows it down that way. All right, cool. Let's set this to false then by default. Cool. All right. So I want to work on the nav. And probably what we'll do is mostly work on like some button configuration and stuff like that. So I think I had like a toggle where you could show or hide the snow originally. These are hard-coded links, so I haven't touched this in like a couple years, and I don't even know what I would have been doing at the time. So there's a lot of stuff I need to refactor in this site. It's a code base I haven't touched in a couple years, and honestly, probably a lot of crap in here. Project info, what the heck is this? I don't know. Anyhow, so this is probably not gonna be the most entertaining coding tutorial ever, but that's what I'm doing this month, and I figured I might as well stream why I talk about it. So I'm pulling in the main CSS. So let's see what I've got here. Main CSS, okay, and I'm importing a reset and a root. Now I'm guessing I'm using some kind of post CSS. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So open props. Do I not have an import? All right, let's check this out. Post CSS import. Actually, you know what we should be doing is use preset env. Preset env. Basically, I don't know, preset env post CSS. Post CSS. So what you can do is use this env thing. Plugins. This is the one. Preset env. Aha. So this adds, yeah, this is what we want. Okay. Post CSS preset env. I've done a video on this before, but basically what it allows you to do is add modern CSS features, including things like imports, better imports. Let's pull this in. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. And then what we're gonna do is add this stuff here. So process your CSS. I think by default it comes with a bunch of stuff. Stage, oh yeah, I think if you add like stage 0 or stage 1, it will just add a bunch of stuff basically for that level. Yeah. Nesting rules, okay. All right, so let's pull this in here. Post CSS. I have open props on this site. So this is just going to be standard CSS, which I prefer, honestly. So if you hate me now, sorry. I had a lot of times people like Tailwind, but I don't know. I feel like Tailwind's great, but to write good Tailwind, you have to know CSS. So we're going to do that. And then I think I can set this like stage to 1. I think that's how this works. And what does this thing include? I'm trying to remember. Let's see. Isn't there like features? Is there an import? No? Well, anyhow, it'll add a bunch of other stuff. Nesting rules. Isn't there an import? Let's see. Post CSS, import CSS, something like that. All right, everyone. Astro, yeah, awesome. I know. I love it. Hey, Bedar, thanks so much for donating. Let's go check it out. See if anyone else has donated too. So if I come over to codingpublic.dev, this is the live one. Hey, awesome. Thanks for those who have donated. Basically, in order to win a prize, you have to give at least $5 and send me the receipt. That's basically it, because I don't get access to who gives from St. Jude, because you're giving directly to them. All I see is like what my total fundraiser amount is. As you can see, we had $1,500 as an original goal. We already have had people give to that. But if you give at least $5 and send me your receipt, basically at this point you are going to win something. And if you don't want something, like you've already owned something, I'll ask you that when I email you back. And I'll also give you like a number, and then on the 26th or 27th, we'll draw names, and I'll also have those numbers up there just to make sure it's clear. All right, I think I did that right. Now, hopefully that importing should work a little bit better. Oh yeah, what was I doing? Post CSS import. Let's see. Post CSS import plugin. There we go. All right. Transforming by inlining the content. So normally you have to do, Yeah, let's pull this in. So if you just do import, it's actually really slowest for CSS, but you can instead add this CSS import like this, and then use that import. And then it will basically inline your CSS in the importing. So that's what I want to do, what I prefer to do. So let's come over here. We'll do the same thing. Call this import. And we'll also add this here. Oh, it's a reserved word. Add import, no wonder. I think that should work. Maybe. I might be doing that wrong. And yeah, I'm not going to take forever to figure this out because post CSS is one of those things that kind of confuses me. One of these days I'm going to learn Lightning CSS, which is not super difficult, but let's just ask. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, let's get back to actually doing something. All right, assuming that I did that right, now what happens is when you come over here, if I can get rid of all this stuff and come over here to my styles or my network, we'll look at CSS. Oh, turns out you have to have your dev server running, npm run dev. Hey, Bedar, no worries. $5, honestly, it's like those are the kinds of donations that mean a lot because what it does is it also makes you aware of the mission of St. Jude, and that's just as important as you giving $5, and every dollar counts. And plus, like I said, you can win some cool stuff, and there's no shame in that. All right, let's see if this will actually come in. Why do I have 3G on? All right, let's see. Main CSS. So let me make sure this is actually importing properly. Oh, I don't know how he does this. All right, it may not be working properly. I'll figure that out later. But basically, it inlines it. That's the point of that post CSS import. I've used that on other projects, so I'll probably go figure that out, grab it from that project. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead. And what I want to do, looks like I don't have anything there on mobile. So what I want to do is create a little nav. But in order to do that, I want to make sure I have all the correct color scheme and stuff like that. So I'm going to come over to my fundraiser.css. I'm going to grab all this stuff. And then I'm going to come back over to my main CSS, and I'm going to drop all this in because I changed a bunch of stuff around. As you can see, a lot of it is breaks kind of the general look of stuff. Like I said, I haven't touched this thing in forever, so therefore this is what we get. Now, the cool thing is because I've set this all up using CSS variables and I'm using open props, I get a lot of these nice like defaults out of the box. So once I actually set this up in a way that's useful, I think this will help. So like here's my accent and my muted that I've changed around from my original. So probably the better thing to do is to get rid of this and come over here to my reset. What was it? My root CSS. And I'm just going to update these. So let's see. Defaults. Color accent. And we're going to set this dark. I don't know why I'm doing this either because these I assumed I was going to have dark and light, and then I ended up not doing that. And I don't think I will either, so I'm just going to do this and get rid of this right here. There we go. Okay. So we've got some other like nice little helpers that I've added here. See, we've got some basic spacing. This is a fancy way of basically setting a margin left and right. I should probably also define some other things. So like here we've got font sizes as well that I've set up using open props. They're kind of typography. So let's do something like, I don't want to set all this up right now. I'll worry about that later. Okay, so basically now what we're doing is pulling all this stuff in. I'm only going to have some basic utilities in here right now. I've got a bunch of these. These are for background colors and stuff, or these are for text colors. So I think what I want to do is come inside here for all these, because my default now would be to set these to oops, to text, background, text, accent, all that. So let's get rid of this. Where underline position relative, oh, it's because I have this whole thing that I'm setting up. Underline accent. What other color would I want this to be? So I'm going to do that by default. Underline secondary. I'll change after do that. Yeah, that should work. Position relative. These where clauses aren't super useful here. I don't know. Basically, it gives it 0 specificity. So, yeah. Container flex wrap. I don't know why I have this. I have a bunch of random utilities in here. I do like to do this where I have like grid small, medium, and large. And that way I can just quickly throw a grid class on something. So a couple of utility classes go a long way. Grid auto FR. So all this stuff here, I will probably get rid of and put in individual sections because I don't really like to have all this stuff globally loading. But baby Chris from 2 years ago didn't know that. Okay. All right. So with that said, we're going to keep working on this nav area. What I want to do is come over to my nav. Let's see my fundraiser right here. And let's see what I have over here. So this nav. Yeah. So I'm going to steal all this. And I'm going to drop this in my current nav, which is right here. Okay, so at least we got a good starting point. You can see if I come in here and hover, I've got that global JavaScript loading for anything with a data confetti attribute, gets that automatically. So I can just throw this on other random things. Like I can throw it right here. And if I hover over the image, maybe, can I throw it on here? Yeah, see, so. All right, let's see what else I want here. Image, this should probably be an image tag from Astro image. This is from my images PNG. So let's go ahead and pull this out too. I don't know, refactoring. I don't know how big of a fan you are of that, but that's what we're doing today. Public. CP head small. Do I have this same thing already in assets? Oh, okay. So let's go. We're going to pull this in and say CIP head. And basically, this just will optimize it slightly. I mean, for an image this small, not really, but CIP head from assets, CIP head small. There we go. All right, so I think that'll be good. So there's a bunch of these like button classes and things like this. I probably want to create some button components. So that might be honestly all we do. Like, I feel like if you really want to create robust components, you just kind of have to do the work. And so probably what I'm going to do is create a little link component. All right, inside here, let's see what do I have. Man, there's so much crap in here. Let's have, I'm going to create a UI folder. And in here, I'm going to have a link dot. Probably what I would use is like TypeScript, just in case I want to use this in React, and which means I definitely need React in the project. Config, do I have React in here? I do. Okay, cool. So we can do that. Yeah. What else do I have? Do I have class variance authority? Package, come on. All right, class variance. No? Okay. So I don't have class variance authority. So I definitely want to add that. Tailwind, I don't even think I'm using Tailwind in here. Man, I got a bunch of junk in here. Okay, yeah, I'm not using Tailwind, so I'm not sure why I have that. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. I mean, I should uninstall it, huh? So let's uninstall that and Tailwind CSS. All right, npm uninstall Tailwind CSS, and that should get rid of that and remove it from my node modules. Yeah, okay, so that's good. I do need to come over to my Astro config now and remove that if it's in here. Tailwind. Nope, it's not. Okay. All right. npm run dev. Let's get this back up and running. All right, cool. Class variance authority. A must-have for me for building out components. I've done a video on it before, but yeah, just a big fan. So let's add that in there. And basically, let's see, I already done that. If we use an Astro example here, let's just view on GitHub so we don't have to wait for that. What we're going to do is it's basically like a text parser. I mean, that's a horrible explanation, but basically what it's going to do is allow us to have these props that we can declare. So an intent here, a size, and then you can do compound variants. So like if this and this are true, also add this. And then, like I said, you get all this type help directly out of the box. So I'm going to copy this, drop it in here. I'm going to copy this, drop it in here. Goodness. Oh, I forgot I'm using React. So let's use React. CSS modules. We're not going to use that, but whatever. I mean, I guess I can use CSS modules. I don't really care. It's not a bad way to scope stuff, honestly. All right, so let's close that down. And what I'm going to do is set up basically different variants of links, and that way, kind of whatever I end up using, I can just declare it directly on here, and then I've got different styles, different colors, that kind of stuff. So let's come back over here and get this running, npm run dev. All right, cool. So we've got all this stuff. I do need to change this stuff around. Link props, that works. HTML anchor element, I think is what we're looking at. Link HTML attributes. Anchor HTML attributes. This is an anchor link. This needs href for sure. This will be a string. And let's pull href in here. Href. And then href will be here. That works, that works. Now we are going to have children in here. So why don't I do this? Come on. Can I just call this rest? Because that's what I usually do. All right, so class name. Anchor link. I think that should all work. Why is this not applying? Let's see, link props. Variant of link, which is this. Styles.base. That should all work. Okay. I think this works. We'll figure it out. All right. With that said, let me come back over to, sorry for moving around on you. Where's it at? Over here, my fundraiser. See if anyone else has given. Hey, thank you so much for those who've given. I would love to get to 2,500 this morning. That would be awesome. Hey, awesome, Newman. Thanks for joining. Email address, can you mail your receipt? It's right here. Coding, let's see. Chris@codinginpublic.dev. Yep. And also you should have gotten that in your receipt as well. It tells you to do that and on the site in a couple places. So thanks for asking. All right. So for those of you who are just joining, I'm trying to raise funds for childhood cancer. I've done this the last 3 years on my channel. I've given to it privately for many years now. It's through a podcast network that I've listened to for a long time. People there have been raising funds for it. We've raised more than like $3 million over the last 5 years with them. And they've opened it up so you can raise your own funds for it as well, kind of under their fundraiser. And that's what I've done here. But St. Jude is awesome if you haven't heard about it before. They're based in Memphis, Tennessee. And in addition to caring for those who are on site that they bring in, sometimes they'll fly patients in, sometimes even from over the globe, different places on the globe. They provide all their care for free. Where do I like to deploy my websites? I'll pause for a second and say usually Netlify or Vercel, but I mean, I've dragged it to FTP servers too, or FTP in FTP clients and stuff too. But St. Jude cares for kids with cancer without cost at all to the family. That's for travel, for meals, for their care, all of that. So what I'm trying to do is raise funds. If you give as little as $5, you're almost, well, at this point, you're guaranteed to win one of the prizes. And I've got some really cool sponsors who've donated stuff. So you can see I've got like $5,000 worth of stuff that people have donated. So I'd love to see that number down here get up to $2,500. All you have to do is give at least $5 and send me your receipt. So everything from CMS to like dev tools to a theme pack to a Git GUI client to my Learn Astro course to Warp, which is a terminal like their pro version. I've just got a ton of really great stuff. All this stuff has been donated. You can see I've got 2 of these, 4 of these, 10 of these, 5 of these. So I've got, I think it's like 37 or 38 things that people have given. And when you give and you send me your receipt by September 26th, even just $5 will enter you in to win one of these. Right now, I think I probably, if the 2 people who have commented sent me their receipt, I probably have 5 people who've claimed these 37. So basically, if you give anything, you're guaranteed to win one of these. And if you already have one of these tools, I'll ask you that when I email you back. And so that way you won't win it again. You can win something else. So anyhow, I would love to see us give towards this. I've given a lot over the last several years, and it's been cool to see us grow. $280 the first year. I did it $1,260 last year, and right now we're already at more than 2,000. So I would love to see us donate. Now, if you say, "Hey, I don't live in the U.S., I don't really care. Why would I? Why would I want to follow this or give to St. Jude?" St. Jude has this thing called St. Jude Global, and the whole point of this is to share their research openly to help eradicate childhood cancer everywhere. In the U.S., the survival rate is something like 80% now. That's largely in part to St. Jude. Internationally, we're still at 20% for childhood cancer. And so what they're trying to do is open up their care for all over the globe. Unlike a lot of research hospitals, they don't gate their research, they share it openly. And so even if you live somewhere totally across the world, if your child gets cancer or someone in your area gets cancer as a child, it's almost certain that they will be impacted by the research at St. Jude. And that's because of St. Jude Global and this initiative. You can see that of the 400,000 children who develop cancer each year, only half are diagnosed. And a lot of that is because they're in low or middle income countries. So St. Jude is also doing their best to spread actual medical care to a lot of countries that a lot of these childhood cancers, some of the 6 most common kinds, are easily curable. There's just not open care everywhere. So whether it's education or spreading research or actually helping build centers locally or over the globe, St. Jude is dedicated to this, and it's been really cool to partner with them. I'd love to see you give as well. Like I said, as little as $5 enters you to win one of these things, and at this point, you will definitely win something. I've only had, I think, 5 people send me their receipts. All right, with that said, let's jump back to the coding, and let's work a little bit more on this link component. All right, so we've got a bunch of different styles in here. I think what we need to do is just kind of do the painful work of extracting all this stuff out. But in order to actually see something take place, what I want to do is switch this out here from my link component. Now, the hard thing here is I've got this image tag that I just brought in. So we might go back. Yeah, I might actually go back here. Just so I don't have to. You can actually pass Astro components now into React components. Ooh, I should use the get image prop. We'll do that. Never mind. Forget what I just said. We're bringing that back. All right. So what we're going to do is switch this out for a link component, which these things never seem to import properly for me, and I'm not really sure why. We'll say link from components UI link. And what I'm going to do also is come over here to my TS config. And I also want to set up another rule for this path where if we go UI like this, how do I have this set up? Yeah, so let's do @UI, whatever it happens to be. This will be the same as coming into my src components UI directory. All right, let's see if this works. That way I can just say this. Not that helpful, but There you go. All right, so we've got href that's being passed improperly. This link component. Huh, I wonder how this is working, that's accepting this. It's not. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. I got my link component coming in from here. Like TSX. Next records a link. Is this actually having an effect on this? No. Why not? Okay. Post CSS, reading source. I wonder if it's because it's trying to pull in these things that don't exist. So why don't I comment this out for now? Actually, let's do primary, secondary, small, medium. Is that all I have? Styles, primary, medium. All right, so let's just add those real fast. Module, primary, secondary, small, even those will be, come on. These will be empty. Okay, there we go. So I think that was the problem. I guess I had primary, medium too. We'll get rid of these eventually. Okay, cool. All right, so now it should actually be working if I come back over here. Yeah, okay. Now this is interesting. It's passing this in. I would have thought... I think it's as a child it's passing this in. That's interesting. Either I'd forgotten you could do that or that's new. Because this is an Astro component that I'm passing in as a child of a React component. I didn't think you could do that, but I must be wrong. All right, so with that said, what we're going to do is come over to my main CSS. I'm going to steal all of this button stuff. Goodness, I got a bunch of stuff in here that's not helpful at all. Button filter. What even is this? I mean, really? Is this necessary? Oh my word. What was I thinking? All right, let's come over here to module. It's been a while since I've looked at this. We're going to drop this stuff in here. All right, so what we're going to do is just set this up where we have like a button. I don't know. I think I'm just going to call this link instead. So let's do that. Let's call this link. All right, like that. I'm also going to get rid of all these where stuff because I'm already scoping this with a module, so it's not going to be super useful to also add a where clause. Oh no, what did I kill? Here. Let's see. All right, I guess I can't do that programmatically. Let's take these two, at least, since I can see what they're doing, link outline, link filled. Oh, man, there's just so much junk in here. Okay. All right, so let's apply link to everything. So what we're going to do, the way this works, and this honestly probably will be the only thing I build out today, but base, I guess we can call it base, that's fine. So base, I set the font size on this thing. Should I set the font size here? Let's think through this. So the different options I have, I'm going to want to have. If I come over to my actual website, let's see. Hey, look at that. More people are giving. That's awesome. Just send me a receipt. I've got a couple things. So I've got these kind of links. You can see they've got their own kind of custom interaction. I've got these links. I think that's all. And then I've got these inline links. So I've at least got 3. We should have different sizes for each of these, though. Hey, awesome, Michael. Thanks so much for donating. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for caring. It's cool to, like, use the channel. Honestly, like, I don't know. The YouTube channel has always been something I've just done for fun. Like, it's something I just like to share what I'm learning. I don't really feel like I'm an amazing dev. I'm self-taught myself. And so it's just like a lot of it is me exploring what I'm learning. And honestly, I learn a ton from you guys in the comments too. You haven't been working CSS for a few years. Why do you have double dashes in your CSS? Link icon. It's like a very rough adaptation of BEM syntax, which is block element modifier syntax. It's just the way, it's like a pattern for styling stuff. So let me finish the thought and then I'll get back to you. What I was saying is that, so the channel has always just been for fun. So it's really cool to use the channel for something actually useful. I don't really care if anybody knows who I am. So I'm not like super concerned about like gaining a name or something like that. But to use the channel to be able to raise funds for childhood cancer is really cool. Back over here. So like the idea is like this is link and this is a modifier of that link. Technically this, or like a block element modifier, except there's no element. So it would just be link and then the modifier is icon. Link, the modifier is small. So it's just the styling thing. So I don't know. I ran across a couple different, like there's a couple different methods for doing this. A lot of this is just to keep stuff organized mentally in your mind. If you're doing what I'm doing here, which is going to be using CVA, instead of like worrying about what the classes are called, I'm just going to pass in small. So I don't really care what they're called over here now. So I kind of prefer to scope it like that rather than thinking mentally, scoping it by like modifying class names and stuff like that. So hopefully that helps. All right. I think that was all the questions. Hopefully I didn't miss anything else. Yeah. All right. Let's see. So I want to think through text align center. I guess that would matter if the button wraps or something. Width, that's fine. Gap. So I guess I'm setting this up as some kind of flex container, and these things are all out of order from what I usually do too. Border, let's see. Do I have any like border radius things? Border radius. All right, let's come to my root. Border. Okay, let's set up some radius things. Transitions. So what I typically like to do is define a bunch of like variables, and then I use these things to build out everything else. So here it looks like I have rounded, which is radius 3. So I guess I do have something. And then here's where I might use something like that BEM style syntax where I'd be like small and then var radius 2 or something like that. So, but let's go ahead and see what this rounded looks like. So if I come back over here, instead of manually hard coding this, var rounded, I'd rather do this and see what happens. I guess I can't really see that. So let me also just add temporarily. Where are we at? Let's add a border, like 2 pixels, solid and white. Okay, so that's rounded. Let me just make sure I did the rounded small right. Okay, so I did it right. Rounded is, what would that be? So if it's not, border radius rounded, I get that. Radius 3, it's 1 rem. So that's a little bit bigger than I was wanting. So I guess that normally it probably would be something like the small actually. All right, padding, I typically like to do M's on this because it basically will adjust to the font size. And as long as you're not nesting stuff, it's not a problem. When you nest stuff in M, it multiplies. But I think in this case, I'll be fine with that. I'm gonna get rid of this. Text decoration, none. So I think this probably should be my default. And then I can have an underlined style. So I think that's what I'll do. This, let's see, why do I have that? I don't really need this here. So I'm gonna get rid of that. Box shadow, and then I've got all these things, background color and color. Okay, that's fine. Do I have like an opacity too? Let's maybe do that, an opacity. I mean, at this point I might as well do all, but opacity just in case I change that. Okay, so we're gonna set that as my base. Now let's come over here. Not there, let's come here. Primary styles. So this would be my default styling for a link. So to me, I'm guessing this should probably be let's name these differently. So I'm going to call this button, and then we'll call this button. Now the intent here for primary, I need to change this to button and this button, because I'm not sure it's so much my primary as it is just like a button style. Excuse me. So let's also come over here and maybe change this link as well to a link. I'm going to get rid of this. Donate now. I think that works. Okay, so now I actually have a real link to look at as well, in addition to whatever this will end up being, which will probably be like a ghost style or something like that. All right, so what I'm going to have, sorry, let's get rid of this. It's probably not like the best tutorial to learn something on. I'm literally just like trying to somehow get this thing refactored. So I don't need that anymore because I already got rid of that. So we've got our base. Now what I want is my button. So my button by default, I basically will have two different options. I'll have button and button underlined or outlined, I would guess. So maybe let's think through what this should look like. So I can have it like an intent of what it is. Outline. Oh, there's a massive spider on my wall. Cool. What do I want this to be like? So I could do a compound variant where if I have button and I have like filled or something like that, but I kind of almost wonder if I shouldn't just do button and button filled and just call it a day. So I think that, or button outline and button filled, or button and button outline. Maybe let's do that. All right, so what we're going to do is see if we've got link filled background color. Okay, so what we're going to do is say if it has button, we should set it to that, which is the default. So that's why it's showing that way. Also, if it's button, I should probably, I don't know that I really want to set different colors based on this. Because I'm using these variables, I can also just locally update this on somewhere else. So we could have a styles as well, or like color, and then set different colors. So we could have our default, which would be basically nothing. And then we could have like secondary, or yeah, secondary maybe. And that could be like styles dot secondary, something like that. So we might do something like that. But now let's just get this thing set up. So what I'm going to do is grab my color. We'll set this to text. Why is that not overwriting it? Color. Oh, it already is text. So this would be background. All right. And then I guess I have those like fully rounded too. So maybe we should also have like a rounded property here. And we'll set our default to nothing basically. And which, I mean, you don't have to do default like that. You could just not have anything, but I want to have something I can pass in down here as like the default variant, and not make it required either. So we've got our other things we created, right? Colors, rounded. We could just do like is rounded. And then I probably also want is underlined. We'll pass in other things, but let's go ahead and do is rounded. And then is underlined. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so we've got button, we've got is rounded, we've got the default, we've got full, and this will just be, can I just do this? No, because that's not going to do it. So we'll go styles. See, this is going to apply this class. Yeah, I should just be able to do var rounded full. Let's come over here. Let's do my main. Nope. Get out of here. Root. It just struck me, whoever was asking about CSS, oh, Bendar, or Bedar, maybe that's not your right name. These double dashes in the front, these make CSS variables, and that may be what you were asking about. And so what these CSS variables do, they're super powerful, but you can reference them anywhere with this var syntax, and you can also update them with JavaScript. So maybe I wasn't following what you were asking actually. So let's do full on this button and see what happens. So if I come over here now, you'll notice that I'll get IntelliSense, hopefully. Where's my IntelliSense? For is rounded. Interesting that I'm not getting that. And I can set this to full. Huh. Why are these not pulling in? Link props. Link CVA. Let's call it something else. And I'm going to change this up here. What am I messing up here? React.anchor. Variant props. I mean, I guess I can come in here and say is rounded. That doesn't get rid of it though either. Huh. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong here. That's kind of unfortunate because that's the whole point of this. Intent is also not coming in. I'll go check that out in a second because that's not cool. Let's set the default then. We'll do is rounded and set this to full and see if that takes effect. Nah. So that's not working. Interesting. I rounded full. That's right. So what if I do like 100 Vmax? Oh, you know what? It might be because I didn't change this. So this will be 100 Vmax. Maybe? No? No. So this should be being passed in down here. Oh. At least we're pulling those in there. Let's now come in here, var rounded full. Okay. I guess we're just going to apply styles dot rounded full. Now I have to declare this twice. Round, whatever, that'll work. All right, so now let's come over here to my module. And we'll do like rounding. Okay, round. I apply this round class. Rounded full. Why is this not being pulled in? Because I didn't use the right syntax. Okay. There's my double dashes. We're struggling today. All right, cool. So we kind of almost have something functional. Let me pull this over here. Can I not do this rounded? Is rounded? Why is this thing not working? Rounded. Somehow the IntelliSense isn't working. Is rounded. Let's just set it up as full. And even if it yells at us, we'll do it anyhow. And let's see if it actually is getting applied. So if I get rid of that, it's still rounded. So it is actually working. It's just the IntelliSense. Somehow the typing is wrong here. Type of link props. What is this? Interface extends anchor element with an HTML anchor element. Variant props type of. So it's extending this, which is fine. That's what it should be doing. Let's see. anchor element attributes, and this takes HTML anchor. Yeah, this takes a generic, and I also am combining the variant props, which this is a little helper we get from CVA, and I'm saying apply this. What am I doing wrong? This should be extending that, which gives me variants, intent, type of link CV. Huh, I don't know. See, it should be giving me all these. Colors is underlined. Size. All this stuff is what it should be giving me in my IntelliSense. And I'm extending it here. I'm typing this functional component with this generic. I don't know if you see what I'm doing wrong, let me know. Either way, it's working, it's just not typed correctly. So let's get rid of this. Now back at it. Okay, so we've got our button styles. The default colors, that works. Let's secondary style color. Yeah, that'll work. So we're gonna do like colors. And this is if we have secondary. And I'm guessing what I'll do is just grab this. And what we're gonna do is update this color here. So like, I'm not being super consistent. Like this should not be. Here, let's pass in. What do we call that? Colors. Color secondary, color tertiary. See, like these should all be double dashes too. So I just, this is not the most consistent thing I've ever done in my life. Button. Once again, I didn't pass this in. Okay, there we go. So it is actually updating. All right, cool. So we can say that if we want it to be that color, it'll be that color. Should probably still be the same background color, which I'm already getting by default, so I don't need that. So the other thing you could do is set like a custom variable just for this, like scope to this, like button background. And then what you could do is just update the one variable here, but it's the same thing as declaring. It's like still one line, so I'm not super concerned about that. All right, so we've got that as an option now. Now when I come over here and I hover, I obviously want some changes. So let's come into the base. Let's see, secondary. I already added that, so we can get rid of that. Let's have some like hover states and stuff. Now typically I would just nest this, I think. So we're gonna have some defaults here. So when I hover, let's see, do I already have a hover somewhere? Okay, we've got something down here. Don't know what all that is. I guess we could also make it active. That's fine. So let's make it when it is active or hovered. Let's just grab all this since I keep copying stuff. I'm not sure what this is, so let's get rid of that. All right, so we're gonna say if there is an active hover, it should change colors. Let's not do that. Box shadow. Why is this negative? There's no benefit to it going negative. There's no benefit to it being there at all. Let's, just to keep it simple, let's come in here and just change the opacity. I'll do like 0.8, something like that, because they're actively hovering. They should know what they're hovering over. Something like that. Okay, cool. Next, let's set up our focus states. So we're going to say if focus, outline none. I don't like to do that anymore. So let's get rid of both of those. So what we're going to do is say outline color is transparent. And that way, if people have, there's a accessibility setting that basically says like show high contrast colors or something like that. If they have that turned on, the color will still come through properly, which is what we want. So we're going to say and focus visible. So this is if they tab to it. Then I want to show this. So if I now tab, you'll see that I get that color. Now, here's actually where I might want to change the color here. So this is the power of CSS variables for the person who was asking earlier. So if I come in here and do like button background or something like that, which again, if I was going to be consistent, I probably should use button with that as a, I don't know, I'm horrible at BEM. Now, what I would want to do is set this to, where is this? This color. So I think I will just leave it like this. Yeah, so let's come up here. So we're going to set it to this. Now, practically that is, Do I want that to be background? Let's do like ring. No, that's fine. Button background is fine. So we'll set it like that. Then I'm going to set the button background here to my var button background. All right, so again, it won't make a difference yet, but the benefit now is when I come to tab over these, what I can do is say, basically dependent on whatever the button background color is, that's what I want this color to be. So here I'm going to also set this to button background, so that that is the same as whatever the button background color is. Let's see, get out of here. What did I mess up? HSL. I don't need that wrapper anymore. That. All right, so we're set there. Now what I can do is on the secondary, instead of updating the background color, I can update the button background. Button background. So now, if I come over here, you'll notice that this actually picks up the color because it's using this variable. And so now I set the variable once, change it in one place. Same thing here. I should probably change this to button text or something like that. So we'll say button text, and I'll set this to var button text. HSL var. That's unfortunate. All right, so then what we can do is just set this to var button text. So I realize this is a little bit more boilerplate, but once you get a hold of it, like it lets you do some cool stuff. So as an example, let's come over here. Button text. I set this to the color text like that. All right. Background. There we go. Okay. So as an example, if I come back over here to the fundraiser site, let's refresh. Is anybody else given? Nope. Now's your time. All right. You can see that what I've done for each of these, I've got this like green color. That's the selection also. But for each of these, all I did was I updated in this card. I just updated the variable for the color. And now suddenly everything, whether it's the text here, this thing around the side, the selection, it's all scoped to that card. And it's as simple as literally updating that little variable. So let's come back inside here. On this card itself, you can see I just updated the actual color accent to whatever. So if I change this to like, I don't know, let's change this to like 20. It'll be red or orangey. And now you'll see that all this has this orange color to it. So the nice thing about using variables like that is you get like lots of flexibility when you actually build stuff out, but you still have like a structured system to work within. Yeah, cool. Awesome. The HSL, okay, so the way I set up my variables, if I come back over here to root, is I don't actually set them as HSL values. I set them up like this. Now, the reason I do that is because, for instance, let's say on this button right here, button background, let's see right here. What I can do is at any point I can just say like 0.2 or something like that, and it sets opacity on it. So on opacity, when I invoke it, so I have to wrap it in HSL, but I just have like a little shortcut if I do comma HSL, and it just sets it there. So it's not that big of a deal to type out. But it gives me a lot of flexibility. Whereas if I set this as an HSL value, I'd have to also like set opacity on every color or that kind of thing. Now, you obviously don't have like a super defined design system at that point. You're just like picking random values. So I try to have like a pretty decent like gradation. Like I only have 3 stops or something like that, like 0.7, 0.5, and 0.2 or something like that. And so I just pick between those 3 when I'm actually designing it. But that way I don't have to have like color background 20%, color background 80%, color background 50%. I can just literally set it. And if you're used to working with something like Tailwind, and normally you'd have like, you know, text, I don't know, blue 500, and you can do like an opacity like 20, something like that, or like background blue 520. All that's doing is setting opacity on that color to 20%. And that essentially gives me the same flexibility using CSS variables. So that's why I wrap them like this. So because they're actually HSL values over here, and I should probably start using LCH, but LCH, LHC, I forget what they're called, but anyhow, it's fairly similar syntax. It may not be the exact same. That may be why it's throwing that off, but way more vibrant color scheme and stuff. So I'll probably switch that over at some point. All right. Hopefully you're enjoying this super slow, boring refactor, but welcome to the life of doing dev stuff. If you're just joining us, we're trying to raise funds for St. Jude Children's Cancer Research Hospital. I've got a few stats up here. 290 kids in the U.S. alone are diagnosed with cancer every week, which is a heartbreaking number. 90% of children with cancer across the world lack access to adequate treatment. That's one of the reasons St. Jude has made such a huge push in recent years to provide global research and care. Because a lot of children who get cancer don't know it. Half of the children in the world, 200,000 of the 400,000 are properly diagnosed. The other aren't. And even those who are, a lot of those cancers are preventable or treatable, but they just don't have access to care. So what if we could just donate some and basically help? And that's the whole point of this. When you donate to St. Jude, what you're doing is donating to their life-saving work to find cures and to prevent childhood cancer and other pediatric life-threatening diseases. So join me this month. I've already given myself, I don't give through my own fundraiser just because I don't want to pad the numbers, but I'd love for you to figure out more about the mission of St. Jude. Like I said a couple times already, if you give at least $5, you get a raffle ticket to win one of these prizes. And at this point, you're guaranteed to win something. I have like 37, 38 prizes, and I think I've only had 5 or 6 people send me their receipt. So basically, if you give and send me your receipt, you will almost certainly win something. If I have more than 38 people give and send me the receipt by the end of the month, then you may not win something, but you have like a 85% chance at that point. Yeah. Even if I had 100 people give, you'd still have like a 70%, 60% chance to win something. So you really don't have to give much to be guaranteed. And would you join me? And you can win some cool stuff while you're at it. This is in connection with a podcast network called Relay, and I've raised money underneath them the last several years. It's really cool to have done something cool with a channel like this. You just have to send me a receipt because I don't have access to who gives. So I have to actually know that you gave, and I don't have any way to contact you, even if you win something, without you sending me your receipt. So I need to have your receipt given to me. Every $5 gets you one more raffle ticket. So give $10, you get 2 raffle tickets, et cetera, et cetera. So you're increasing your chances of winning at that point. And you can see I've got stuff from CloudCannon. This is the CMS, some dev tooling like Console Ninja, which I really, it's indispensable to me. Dracula, which is the theme provider for everything from your VS Code to terminal, anything you want. GitTower is a GUI client for Git. My Learn Astro course, I'm giving away 4 licenses there. Cocoa.js runs JavaScript and TypeScript directly in your code editor, so you don't have to wait for like a console log or anything like that. As you actually update values, it just displays them directly in line, which is really cool. I use this a lot privately. Wallaby.js does the same thing for tests, so you don't have to like run your tests. You just start doing stuff, and it tells you immediately if your tests are failing or succeeding. So lots of little helpful things, but these are both just super helpful productivity tools. You don't realize how often you're like console logging, going to the dev console, opening it up, and when you can just do stuff and it just shows up directly in your editor, it's crazy. Warp, which is a terminal. I've done work for them before as a disclosure, I guess, but because of that, I have connections there and asked them if they'd be willing to give away some pro plans. If you haven't tried agent mode in Warp, it's a game changer for me personally. So I've got 4 licenses for that. And all you have to do is give at least $5 by September 26th for a chance to win. Let's see. Nobody else is given in this passionate spiel. When I do redesigns, do I have everything in my head, or do I just trial and error design platforms like Figma, preview before diving into the code? I don't really have a system. Basically, last week, I think it was Thursday morning, I was like, I want to redesign this page. So I just designed this, and this is about where I got. And I was like, that's good enough. And I started coding it out. So I don't know. Sometimes I think my designs look cool. Sometimes I think they look stupid, and I don't really have a way to decide when one is going to turn out one way or the other. So hopefully that helps. All right, back over this way. Let's see. I don't know how much longer we will go here. Cool. Let's call that maybe like another 15 minutes, something like that. And I'll give one more passionate appeal for St. Jude. Man, I was really hoping to hit $2,500. We've only raised maybe 100 today, so please join me. $5 gets you one of these cool prizes. All right, so back over this way. Have we finished this component? Not even close. All right, so I've got this. I've got it hovering. I've got the focus states proper. So I think I'm pretty happy with the button component itself. Rounding, that'll work. Link icon, what is this about? Oh, interesting. All right, so let's do this. We're gonna set up a couple other styles. So this one will be like a ghost button. So we'll call this ghost link, styles.ghost. And we'll allow it to like combine with other things like this too. Oops, styles.ghost. So we're gonna call these like variants. What do we call this? Intense. So for the ghost, padding, I can override those. Yeah, that should work. Okay. So for the ghost, what I want is to set the background color. And here's the cool thing is I can just update, let's see, this variable. So it'll be very much like the color here. We're just going to say this is transparent now. So if something is ghost, so let's come over here and set this to intent of ghost. And I'm not sure again why that's not working, but now you can see it just takes on that color, which is cool. But I still, like here, I got this problem where now I've decoupled the background from the ring. So probably what I should do is come in here and have like a ring as well. Focus, line color. We'll set this to ring. Okay, and then we'll have to update both of these, but that'll be fine. Ring, secondary. That could have gone better. Color ring. Oh, you idiot. Button ring. Button ring. Button ring should be secondary. Button ring accent. Why is that not working? Background color is button ring. Oh. Color background. Okay, so this probably I'll leave that there no matter what. This is what needs to update to button ring here, which again, I just need to be consistent. Say ring. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we've got those. Now I can come down here and change this to ring, and that should be the same. That'll work. Okay, I can also point this to like the other one, but I think that'll work. So even if I have a transparent background here, I can still have the ring work that way. I like that. And I'm using M's here again, because just like with the padding, this will respond to font size. So as the font changes, as it gets bigger or smaller, So will that. Let's see, let's make it a little bit bigger. 1.5. Nothing like cooling over 0.05 ems. Okay, so now I got this ghost thing. I think I'm pretty happy with that. So that's a ghost variant. Okay, next one. Let's go ahead and set up. Let's set this up as a. What are the other options I have? It's like inline. So let's set this up as inline. Intent. We'll say inline. Styles dot inline. So this would be like an inline link inside of a paragraph or something. So let's actually switch this back and I'll change it somewhere else. But we'll say inline. And here we're going to need to change a few things because I don't want any padding on something like that. So why don't we just come into the middle here and just have a link. Actually, let's copy this down. And here we'll have this say inline. And here I'll say inline link. All right, so right there. It is getting the hover state, and I'll get the focus state too, but notice there's padding. And like, let's say I had this inside of a paragraph, which this should probably be a span anyhow. So let's put this inside of a paragraph that says like something cool. All right. And I guess we'll do something and this, whatever. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. Okay. So now we've got this something link, and you'll notice that it's a block, right? Or I guess it's flex technically. So what I want to do is change a bunch of things here. So number one, display will be inline. I guess we can do inline flex, just in case I have an icon in there for some reason. Padding will be 0. So now it's just like a normal inline link. The font size will be inherit. So it'll inherit that from the body. What else do I want? I mean, it's properly giving me that. Probably what I want is on hover. So we'll do the same kind of is active, is hover. Opacity's fine, but I probably also want to change the color here to my var color button background. So now it'll change to there we go, to that color. The other thing I probably want to do is I can apply this. So CVA lets you do things like if this is true and that is true, then do this. So if it has inline, so I can just say like, you know what, I think I'll just do it anyhow. Yeah, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to say if it's underlined, what do I have this set as? Is underlined default, I'll say true. Can I just have like false, true? False. Oh. True. Would be styles dot underlined. I think that'll work. So let's grab this is underlined. So we'll say if it is underlined or if it is inline. I think it would be the same thing. Sorry, what we need to do is like this and use the is selector. All right, so if it's any of those, then I want to do something. I think I have this down here somewhere, right? Underline, where's that at? Link underline. I guess that was it. I'm gonna grab all this. Oh boy, all kinds of stuff in here. All right, let's see how much of this is actually useful. I guess I should also get rid of that while we're at it. All right. All right, so we've got color. That could be useful, but nothing seems to be happening. Is underline or is inline, that should be showing. That should work as well. Is inline. Why is this not working? I got my base. I got my inline link. Styles inline. So this should be applying. So maybe right now, let's just do this. Font size, max width, none of that really matters. This does. So we can add that. I should have, yeah, now like that little underline thing happening. Okay. So what I'm doing here is creating this little after thing where I've got this squish, or it's going from a width of 0% to a width of 100%, and it's going to use this accent color, which probably what I should do is use both here and here. I should use my var button background. Background. Is hover visible, block shadow none. Background color transparent. Why would I need that? And I already have. Yeah, so let's just change this to focus visible. And then I can get rid of that because I don't think I need that. I can change the after there, background color. I'm changing the after the background color. That's not useful. Oh, maybe it is. Is it useful? Yeah, I guess so. How about that? Okay. So anyhow, so that's an inline link. I like that. Can I also do is underlined? So if we do is underlined, we set this to true. Same thing should be the case. Oh, except it kind of breaks a little bit. So maybe I don't really need. I think I might change up the design here. So we've got inline. I do have buttons that will be similar, but I think I can combine those in a different way. Okay, cool. So let's say that we came inside here and we have is inline, and then we have colors, color equals secondary. What do I set this as? Colors. Why would I do that? Let's come over here to color, color, color. All right, so let's say I set this thing. Oh yeah, look at that. So now I can have an inline color that's secondary, primary, or whatever it happens to be, the default. I don't remember what that was called. So anyhow, so that's cool. All right, so we've kind of got some systems. So I got that. I've got my other intents are like button. That would be one of these. Should probably also have a size attribute, so let's do that. So we've got small and medium. So let's come over here. And size, let's see, we've got what's going to affect our size. This. You know what we should do for is underlined? Sorry. We should have is underline. Text decoration underline. Let's see, isn't there like text decoration color? We'll do var background, our button background. So let's change this. Let's have inline is underlined. We're going to set this to true. Okay. So if it is underlined, then we want text decoration. That's basically all we're saying. But the other thing I want is I don't want any after. So we'd say like after is, how do I change this around? I guess I would just say, can I just do that? Will that break it? No. Yeah, let's do content. Display, none. Yeah, so that'll work. Okay. So if it is underlined, it's like that. So in order basically for the intent, if it is underlined, I always want it to be an intent of inline. But I guess I'll just set those separately because I don't always want it to be underlined like in a paragraph. What other options do I have? Let's come back over here. So I do have some of these. So this would be like is underlined. That's what that would be. This would be more like an inline element, right? All right, so now let's set time. I said 15 minutes, but now I'm into it. So let's change. Let's have some sizes. Come on. Sizes. So we're going to have medium or small. We'll have medium. And then we'll have large. Or let's call this base. Primary, medium, small. Okay. Do I need a base? No. Oh my. Chris. All right, so we're going to change these and have small and large. Then we'll have like base will be our default. Which I guess I just don't have to have a default, right? Let's also get rid of this for now. Does it need to have color? Why doesn't it like this? Okay, so I do need a default. Maybe. Color is my default. The happier? No. Color, color, color. Why doesn't it like me? Size. That should be fine, no? Why doesn't it like this? String undefined is not possible, default, secondary, or null. Color. Why is that passing it in? Not sure what I'm doing wrong there. Size. Default. It was fine when I hit name this colors. It's not like a random reserved word here, is it? Maybe it is somehow. I don't know. All right, anyhow, so now we're going to have these. We'll have this be the default size. Default color. What happens if I just get rid of these? I think it just won't do anything. And we're just going to set this to true. Size. It's okay, man. You're going to be great. Don't worry about it. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we've got small and large. So when it's inline, it's already going to basically change to be default. Maybe I should update the text here. Yeah, let's do this. I'll say base is styles to base. And then when it's button, just trying to think how I'd want to invoke this. We'll just set the default to small. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll say size default small. That's fine. All right, so we've also got base. All right, so there's a couple things that are gonna change this. I'm gonna let the padding be controlled by what type it is. So really, I should probably just be updating the font size here. Yeah, so let's do that. So gap, that should be about the same no matter what. Border, none, that's fine. We talked about doing an outline version. I guess I'll do that when I need it. I think the rest of that's good. All right, so let's come in here. I'll set that to there. We're gonna set the font size to inherit. And then here, let's set this to like font size, I don't know, 400, see what that does. So let's come over here and say size is large. That's probably what the base is. There we go. Okay, so we got 500. If I set this to small. Oh, wait. Size is working randomly. Is it? No. Just somehow it is. All right, but if I say small, if I say large, if I say base, why is small not overriding that? Or base not overriding that. So size, small. That's my default. Is it the size here, like the order this is passed in? Let's check it out. Font size inherit. I don't know why that's applying. Font size inherit this should be overwriting it. But it's not for some reason. Well, let's check the dev panel and see what's going on. It's hard when I'm streaming because I try to always make, okay, font size 10. So this is overwriting it somehow. Base inherit. Even though I'm setting it here. Why is it using the base though? I mean, I know that's the default, but aren't I setting it? I'm saying size. Size is the prop I'm pulling in. I don't know. Not sure why that's doing that. I've got some funky stuff going on here. I mean, I don't know when I would want that, so it's fine. But that is a little odd the way it's... Okay, so there's my large. I've also got small. I've also got base. Small and base are the same. So what... Why is that happening? Why is base or small not being applied? Small is that. Style is that small. Certainly that's not affecting it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Do I have another small somewhere? Link small. I don't know. What's this doing? Small. Base. Large. Large works. Oh, what am I doing wrong? The font size inherit base. So let's get rid of this font size here. Maybe that somehow is messing us up. So we'll say small. Huh. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. All right, well, I'll have to figure that out. There's something being applied weirdly. Like I know base comes after, but I'm not applying base anywhere. Oh. Oh, well, okay, well, I'll figure that out, but at least we've got several different variants, right? So if I come in here, I've got this intent, and I can set this to ghost, and it makes it like kind of this ghost background thing where I can hover over it. Oh, you know what? For the ghost, I wanted it to show the background, right? Yeah. So when it's on, I wanted this to be var button background, right? Ghost is active or hovered. Oh, I can't change it to that anymore, huh? I guess I can do this. Background var color accent. Because inside here, this should be scoped to here. Yeah, it's kind of nasty, but you know. Let's see. Background color, change that. Then I would also need to change this. That'll work. Okay, so back over here, I've got ghost. I've also got inline, where I've got that. I also have an underlined variant is underlined. I can set this to true. If I do that, it's always underlined like that. And I get that cool hover state. So I guess the last thing to do would be to adjust. Let's get rid of everything I don't need first. Size underline, small, large, I don't know what's going on there. Secondary, rounding, link icon. Oh yeah, I probably want an icon version too, don't I? Like just a straight up circle icon. All right, so let's do another one. Let's call this icon. Styles.icon. And in this case, what I want is border radius. Let's come up here to my intents. I'd have an icon. This would be, let's see, I guess I'd have padding set to 0. Or what do I have here? Padding to 2rem, border radius is 100 Vmax. I think that'll work. So let's say I had, let's grab like a random icon. All right, so we're gonna drop that thing in there, change this to icon. Yeah, all right, so probably the default icon would be very much like this as well. And I could also pass in colors secondary. It should change all of that over. Yeah. Do I need any other? I don't really need an outline. Yeah, I think that works. Now, Safari does a weird thing with padding on these SVGs where it's going to shrink the SVG, so that's something else to think about. But I think I already have a max width or width on there, so I think that should work. All right, so we've also got icon. Anything else I want to do before I end this stream? Icon filled, link filled. I don't know that I really need an outline version of a button. I guess we could. We might as well. It's not going to hurt anything. So we'll say like outline styles dot outline. I don't know what filter is. I'm sure that's something important somewhere. Ooh, what does this thing do? Link filter after. We should see what that does. We'll say link filter. What does that do? I don't know what that does. I don't know what that's doing. Seems cool. Let's just add class name of link filter on here and see what that does. Nothing? Okay. I thought I might have had that globally somewhere. All right. Outline. Back to what we were supposed to be doing. Intent. We've got ghost, icon, inline. Is underline is kind of its own thing. Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, Neo. Thanks for saving the world. No idea. Let's see. Icon is inline. Ghost. What was I looking at? Outline. Okay. It's a thing. It's a whole vibe. Let's do border color. Or no, sorry. Let's do this. Let's set this to button background. I guess we do ring while we're at it. I don't know that I need padding, special padding. Button ring, right? Why gotta be like that? Oh, it's HSL. So there we go. Now we do, if I come in here and I have like colors secondary, then we get the same kind of thing. All right, so why do we go through all this pain? Because we like to have nice little components that we can just call and they work, and we have a bunch of different options. Was this as helpful as I was hoping? I don't even know what this thing is. Data active true. Oh. I bet these were specialty buttons for random. Link filled where with. Oh, what am I doing? Filter color. These are probably specialty buttons for things. Link icon bounce. Ooh. We got to play with that. Link icon. Link. What was I thinking? So let's get rid of that. Here we're gonna just make sure that here, let's do this. We should probably also have some resets. So let's bring this up top. And we can just say base. I want SVGs inside of those to have pointer events of none. That makes sense. I would say user select. We should probably set this to none too. My only concern is like if it's an inline link, probably here, user select should be auto. So if it's inline, they should be able to select this, right? Yeah, I want to be able to copy that. But if it's outline or something like that, I don't want them to select the link text, I guess. I don't know. That's not super important. Anything else I want to add here? Well, I mean, we got to see what link is. Font size, fluid 1, padding 0. I don't know. That's useless. All right, bounce. So what we should do is say if should bounce. Oh, this is what we're going to do. But it needs an SVG. So we're going to say that this has a span. And then we're going to drop that SVG in here. So icons, that'll work. However, it should bounce. So if that is focused or hovered, this is going to bounce like crazy. You just watch this. Okay. So let's come. Oh, it's M's too. So that's good because it'll adjust by the font size. So we're going to say like should bounce. And then let's come over here and have another option here. We say should bounce. And if it's true, we're going to have styles dot should bounce. Yeah. All right. So now let's pull this thing in. Should bounce. I want to figure out this colors thing too, because that's kind of weirding me out. Should bounce. Should bounce. Let's change this color to colors. Colors to color. It doesn't like it. Why? Whatever. I'm sure there's something dumb I'm not thinking of. Should bounce. All right. Oh yeah. Look at that bounce. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do link type because I think. Ooh. Bounce direction. Bounce direction. Here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna set this to right. Bounce right. Down. I'll say styles.bounce down. And then what I want to do is should bounce should be set to right or something like that. All right, now let's take this SVG and get rid of this because the intention here, I think I set this up for my fundraiser. Icons, arrow. Let's see. What icon did I use for that? I don't remember. Let's just drop this in here. All right, so it should bounce to the right. It's not going to do anything yet because we have to set up bounce right. So let's come over here. We're going to say bounce right. Then it should bounce that way. However, if we have bounce down, bounce is such a weird thing. Should bounce. Whatever, that'll work. So now if I come over here, bounce, should bounce, bounce right. Bounce right. Should bounce. Right, right, right. Should bounce. Oh yeah, I changed the name of this thing. Okay. Now, nothing happens still. Should bounce, bounce direction, bounce direction. Okay. So it kind of bounces right. Let's come back over to my fundraiser. Let's see, hero, stats. Let's see, learn more. That wasn't it. Where is it at? It's in the chance to win. View giveaway. All right, so whatever that thing is called. Well, let's see if anyone else is given. Get out of here. Sorry. Nope, nobody else is given. Lots of work for all that. Come on, people. Let's come over here. Underline accent. Chance to win. View giveaway. External arrow size. What do I do? Chance to win. Button underline. Oh boy. What did I do here? What does button underline give me? Do I have button classes? Turn. This must have been it. Okay. So let's come over here. We're going to come over here to bounce down. We could call this right. Call this down. Call this right. Call this down. All right, so if it should be down, then what it's supposed to do is turn. That was kind of the intention here. So for like internal links or whatever. All right, so now let's say down. You know, it's something. So, all right, well, now we got a bunch of different options. If it has an SVG, it would do that. If I have something like my normal button, oops. So if I get rid of this, the same thing would happen. Okay, but if I don't have an SVG, or if I remove this bounce direction, nothing should happen. Yeah, okay. All right, so we did some stuff. We built out this component. Hopefully that was halfway interesting to somebody. But now we've got like a fairly robust link component that isn't giving us IntelliSense, so I'll figure that out later. But yeah, so that'll work. So I don't want this here. The size is too big now. So why is that happening? Let's see. Default. Oh yeah, size should be small. Oh yeah, but somehow that's getting overridden. Oh, styles.base. Because the base size, you idiot. Okay, that's why it's not overriding it. Okay, so we're going to say like medium or whatever. All right, and that's what we should name this. Size should be that. Inside here, that's why it was overriding it. This should be medium. Okay, there we go. Now I can change the size to medium or large. Well, clearly I got some work to do there because it's still not applying. Oh well, all right, well I'll figure that out later. Size default variants, but it should still let me override those. It's something to do with the way I've set this up, but we're close. I might add some compound variants, but at least we got like a fairly robust component. But all right, well I'll probably end the stream here, but just a reminder, if you give as little as $5 and send me your receipt, you've got at this point 100% chance of winning one of these. I would love to see this number curl up as we go through the day, but thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy coding.